Welcome, friends. We're so happy you could join us for another special episode of Let's Talk Travel as we focus on Destination France for the entire month of September. And of course, anything France, if they're known for anything, one of those things is their fine wines and champagnes, which are the most they're just idolized in the champagne world because they are the best in the world. And no exploration of France would be complete and thorough without delving into a little bit of the history and options when it comes to champagne. So we, if anything, want to be thorough, and we are very excited to welcome back a great friend of ours at Dancing Moon Travel, trusted provider for all things wine-centric and champagne, Larry Davis, owner of the Champagne Tour Company with locations in Paris and Rennes. And if I say anything I mispronounce, the chances are about 100% when it comes to saying anything with a French accent. I'm going to slaughter it. And my apologies. It's terrible, but I just can't seem to get a good pronunciation going. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be with you again, Pat.
Yeah, you are definitely a luxury brand expert, a provider of tailor-made wine and champagne tours, tastings, pairing lunches, immersive experiences for the connoisseur. We're so happy to have you tell us a little bit about what the Champagne Tour Company provides and what you are able to craft for our clients when you do a custom tour for them. So Larry, I always like to just start off giving our listeners a little glimpse of your journey, your history, how you got to where you are today, and what led you to start the Champagne Tour Company.
My goodness, what a question. So I won't go back too far, but like when I came to France at the end of 1999, my focus was luxury branding. And I didn't know at that moment that I would end up in the champagne business, but I was very fortunate during my MBA classes to my first teacher was René Krug, and he came and did a talk about champagne and brought his wonderful champagne with him, and it was lovely. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. It wasn't really my focus, and eventually one thing leading to another, I moved into the travel space, and about 7, 8, 9 years ago, I became more and more interested in champagne. And that's been sort of my focus for the last 5 to 7 years. And last year in particular, I was particularly interested in trying to re-understand champagne. I found that given that we all had a lot of time at home and we couldn't go out all over the world, I had time to really think about how to understand champagne in a different way. And that meant recontextualizing what is champagne. And I realized after speaking to many vineyards that many of our clients go to champagne, but they actually don't know what it is. Now, that sounds surprising, but so the first thing I have to start back again to talk about is, what is champagne? Champagne is a sparkling wine. It is wine. It's made slightly differently because it is doubly fermented, but it is still a wine. And I think it's really important to understand this, because people often ask me, can we do champagne taste? We want to do champagne tasting, but we can also do a wine tasting. But no, this is wine, but it's a sparkling wine. And champagne is, of course, known for its sparkling wine. It's the best sparkling wine in the world, even though there are many other areas you can find fantastic sparkling wines. And in fact, last year we expanded to 20 of the top sparkling wine regions around the world.
Wow.
And yeah, it's very, very exciting. And you can still go to Champagne and you can try the still red wines that are used to make rosé champagne, but it's primarily a sparkling wine. And you can drink sparkling wine with dinner, with a main course. It's not just for an appetizer. So I would say that last year I became even more immersed myself into the champagne world to try and rethink it, re-understand it, reimagine it, and take it to a whole other level. So that when people come to Champagne, it's not just, oh, I'm going to go to a visit to Champagne. It becomes more than that. It becomes an understanding of a culture. And many people come, they want to buy champagne, but they can't find it when they get home. So one of the things we started doing now is helping ship champagnes from France to their homes in the US. And that sort of continues the cycle of the experience.
That is lovely, and I think wine in general has just burgeoned in popularity here in the U.S. anyway for a number of years now, and with Champagne being the top of the line wines, I'm guessing that your tour experiences, now that we're beginning to get past this pandemic, are really going to burgeon in popularity as well, and love the fact that post-tour, you can provide some of these lovely wines and champagnes right back, send it back to them at their homes once they have been hit with, because the thing, a lot of them, I think they're produced in small batches, and you can't find them here in the U.S.
Yeah, that's correct. And part of doing that is also to help people start teaching people how to educate their own palates. So rather than just buy brand, they actually buy what they like. And to do that means we curate the champagnes so that we offer champagnes in order to do that. So it becomes sort of like a process. And when they buy the champagnes, we set up a Zoom meeting so that they can actually do the tasting with the vineyard.
Wow, how cool is
so
that?
what we've done is create a sort of immersive experience at home, similar to what they would do in Champagne. And so they can share that with their friends, they can share that with whoever. And a few weeks ago, we started yet another experience, which we call Cocktails and Conversation, where people can learn what to do with their champagne they don't drink when they've opened it, and how to turn it into a wonderful cocktail. And we have a California mixologist who does that. And again, these are just ways for people to experience champagne from a slightly different point of view and put it into the context of sparkling wine and understand it differently.
I love this, and the fact that you're still learning and reimagining and things. This is just one of those things that you'd never quite have everything together.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what makes it interesting, and that's what makes it fun for me to do, because, making itineraries and doing this sort of stuff all the time, you're always looking to learn new things. And I found this to be, and I think we've all found that during lockdown, that we've allowed ourselves to have the time to be creative and to sort of change the way we do business, change the way we approach our clients. And the other thing I've started doing more now, which I find really actually quite exciting, is that I go online on Zoom with a client, like one of your clients with you, and we talk about the trip, and I get a whole other kind of insight into what people's preferences are. And that's kind of what differentiates us. We don't just send people to the same places on every trip. Every itinerary is different.
So your travel experience are a major departure from one of these coach tours that might take you to one of these vineyards. Tell us about what's a traveler experience. It's, you said, all customized. What can clients expect from one of your tours?
Well, it all starts with a conversation. And if you ask the right questions, you can get pretty close to what someone really is looking to experience. And that's really what it's all about. It's not about me trying to sell them a particular tour or route or experience. It's me trying to understand what for them is really the ideal day, the ideal experience. So somebody might say, I just want to have a fantastic lunch in Champagne at the Chateau. Just had an email 5 minutes ago from a lady in California. That's what she wants to do. And then we'll build an itinerary around that, because that's the most important thing for her. And in this particular case, she said, Veuve Clicquot is my favorite champagne. So I'm going to make sure that we're going to go and visit Veuve Clicquot, and we're going to have this place for lunch. And then after that, after talking, I understand, for example, that she likes Pinot Noir wines and Chardonnay wines. So we'll do a multi-tasting comparing different Pinot Noirs. And so it's very similar to the sort of experiences she enjoys in Napa Valley. And so this is the sort of way we approach each itinerary, to give people something that is really comfortable for them. And if they're more interested in discovering new champagnes, there are 5,000 producers. There must be, I don't even know, 15, 20,000 different cuvées. So it's a lifetime of exploration. So we try and help start going down that road a little bit by educating the palate if someone wants to explore, or if they know they love Chardonnay, we'll stay in the Côte de Blanc and we'll just visit fantastic Grand Cru Chardonnay producers.
That is, it's all customized to suit the client, and a unique experience from one client to the next, depending on their own preferences and interests. Exactly. And the beautiful, I mean, just, part of the experience is as you drive through here. Now, yours is all private.
Yes, that's right.
So you're not sharing the tour. You're not sharing an itinerary.
No.
And you're experiencing something that's put together particularly for you, your own preferences. And one thing that I notice is as I talk to people who are traveling, people from here, many of us English speakers, are a little nervous or intimidated about language barriers, and somehow that seems especially so for France. And I know, as I mentioned, I slaughter every French syllable that I attempt to utter. It's frankly, it's embarrassing. Is that ever an issue for your travelers? Are they ever nervous about that?
Never.
Okay.
Never, especially after the first 3 glasses of champagne.
That will cure all about anything, huh?
Hey, absolutely. There's no problem you can't solve with a glass of champagne. But, when I first came to France over 50 years ago with my school, at that time, it was much harder. Most people did not speak English. But over the years, French people have realized that they cannot avoid learning English. And it's still not as prevalent as you'd find in Holland or Belgium, where everybody speaks 5 languages. But certainly today, so many more people do speak English, and it's really not an issue anymore. But of course, there are some vineyards where they do not speak English. I generally tend to not go to those vineyards because I think speaking English is a prerequisite, and it makes it too hard for them to share their knowledge and their passion if they don't speak the language. And there are, we work with over 100 vineyards, so we know enough vineyards that people can have the sort of experience I think they expect. We're not trying to give them a lesson in cultural understanding and getting over we have very limited time. People want to enjoy themselves. And so we go to vineyards where, 98, 99%, there's someone there speaking English fluently. Occasionally In fact, this morning we had a tour, and the owner couldn't be present because it's the beginning of the vendage today, the beginning of the harvest. And so everybody's very stressed, and they're all going out picking grapes. So, his assistant did the best she could with her English, but his champagnes are so fantastic, it's still worth going just to taste these champagne, because you really just can't find them anywhere else. And it's a great little place.
And you have all of your driver guides are going to be fluent in English, so there's not a language barrier.
Yeah, all our regular guys. We have 10 drivers, and they all speak English at to different levels. Of course, some are. If you're coming from Paris, you actually have an option of a licensed guide who has a background in art history.
Wow.
If you're in Champagne, I can't think of anybody that is a licensed guide, but then they are locals and they speak English, and they don't speak English like I do, but they speak certainly enough English that it's not an issue.
It won't be uncomfortable for anyone. Let's say you have a wide range of options for people. You say you have people who are spending a few days in Paris, have an interest in exploring the champagnes, but with a rather limited amount of time. They maybe 6 to 8 hours to devote. Are there options for people like that to do a meaningful tour from Paris?
Yes, absolutely. We do a lot of half-day tours. People take the train. They come in at, the train schedules are variable at the moment because of COVID, but they come in at 11:45 or 10:30. They have time for a little lunch. We'll pick them up from the restaurant, and we can do a 4-hour tour and then drop them off at the station. It's only 45 minutes by train, so that's quite easy. Last year, we introduced a 5-hour tour, which is really exciting and very, very popular, because that extra hour allows someone to actually have lunch at, for example, a vineyard, have a picnic, and also then, so they do a visit plus the picnic in the vineyard, and then they do 2 tastings. So it's nearly like a full day tour, just shorter, but it has the elements of the feeling of doing a full day, even though you only do it for 5 hours.
Okay, and at the other end of the scale, if someone has a couple of days, they're really a connoisseur, they're very interested in learning and want to really delve deeply into you could give a couple of days custom tour for them?
10 days?
10 days even. I was thinking 2.
2, 3, 4 is really no problem. I just, a few weeks ago, we did a really interesting tour for a Dutch wine collector who came and traveled with us for the 3rd time. And we talked about what sort of trip we should do. And we decided together to focus on just Chardonnay. And so what we did 2 days in the Côte de Blanc for Chardonnay, to understand the Chardonnay grape. And it was totally specific to that. And then we did a day in Chablis, in Burgundy.
Wow.
To discover the Chardonnays from Chablis. And then we did a day in the Côte de Beaune in Burgundy to discover the Chardonnays in Burgundy. So we did a sort of a 4-day comparison of just single grape Chardonnay wines and champagnes. And of course, he was delighted. It was an amazing trip. And so we really customized to a client's interest. If he had asked me for Pinot Noir, we could have done the same with Pinot Noir. Or if he had said, I want to go to the Rhone Valley, and I want to go down to Avignon, and I want to go to Provence and do rose, we could do the whole line. So
wow.
We can do 2 weeks, we could do 3 weeks, and we go to these amazing estates. But in each region, what's interesting is that, Champagne is very much about champagne. That's really why you go to Champagne. There's not a lot of historical monuments to see. But when you go to Burgundy, a little bit more. When you go into Provence, actually there's a lot. So then we have a different thinking. It's a different approach, and we include a lot more cultural places to visit, more villages, more museums, things like that are, the Palais du Pape in Avignon. So we have a different approach. Champagne is quite specific, but we also do the Loire Valley now. And again, you have all those castles. So you could spend 4 or 5 days doing that, 5 days in Champagne, and 5 days we could get people on the plane and send them to Cava in Barcelona, anything.
And all with their own private driver guide. You're not on a motor coach in lockstep with 40 or 50 other wine lovers. You're doing your own thing. I mean, it's the ultimate experience here. I love this image here. Now, this is the this sign here. What is?
Well, it says Cursuy. I must admit, I don't know where that is. Must be a very small village, but it is on the Route de Champagne.
Okay, so that's what I want. Yeah, the Route de Champagne. That's what I wanted to get to.
Yeah. It could even be in the south. It could be in the Aube. I don't know this village. I don't know all the villages. It's true.
Well, there are a lot of them for sure. But so what about the major houses here? I've got some images here.
Okay, so what you're looking at here is the backside of the church and abbey of Auvillers, where Dom Perignon is buried. And it's a very pretty village. The abbey itself is owned by Dom Perignon, so that means it's owned by LVMH, the very large luxury house. And this is the view from behind.
Okay, and another one of the.
This I don't know.
This says Krug.
No, this is not Krug.
It's not. Okay, well that I've got.
You got mixed up image there.
It got mixed up. Somebody mislabeled the image here.
That's all right. Now that looks to me like a Chateau de Marqueterie owned by Taittinger, and
that's what. Yes, that one was properly labeled then.
That's correct. And in fact, we've just last week made a collaboration with Champagne Taittinger to offer exclusive visits to the private residence and to do lunches there.
Oh my word! That is cool.
Totally
Speaking of lunches, here's some people having an exclusive lunch at someone. I'm not sure exactly where this one is, but you can curate that kind of experience for those lunches. Yeah,
it can be something very high end, but it doesn't have to be. It can be something just at a local vineyard. There are some options, we can say.
Okay, so anything from like a picnic to a multi-course lunch with multiple wine.
It could be anything.
Oh, Larry, what about timing of their visit is there a particular time of year you would recommend or avoid?
We actually tour every day, except for New Year's Eve, public holidays. The prettiest time of year, clearly, like in most places, is spring to fall. Once it gets to November 15th, it starts getting cold and wet, and it's quite cold in March. So April, it starts warming up. So, like in most places, those are the prime times to go. But it depends when people have their vacation, and it's quite possible to visit Champagne in Christmas, and you can go to the Christmas market. And what we can do now is we could do 1 or 2 days in Champagne in December, and then people can take the train, or we can drive them to Alsace and then do a 2-day tour to discover not only the Christmas markets in Alsace, in Strasbourg or in Colmar, but then they can taste some of the absolute finest white wines in the world, and the least known for being the finest in the world. And of course, Alsace produces sparkling wines too, which are called Crémant d'Alsace. And we can visit some of the top producers of the Crémant d'Alsace on a trip like that. So we can do 2 days and 2 days, 3 days, 3 days, 1, whatever.
We just had as our guest Alma Waterways. We were talking about the French options for the river cruise experience. I think it would be a wonderful experience, either pre or post river cruise, to schedule a couple of days and end up with or start out either way with a private tour into the Champagne regions with you guys.
Yeah, actually, we have clients who do that. In fact, they will do a tour in Champagne, and then we'll drive them to Burgundy, where they may start a cruise, or if they're in, they may do a cruise with you from Paris to Normandy, and as a day trip, before or after, we can pick them up, take them to Champagne. In fact, if they go up on a cruise to Honfleur, which is where the cruises often go to, we can do a tour from there and discover Calvados brandy, which is made from apples, and this is where Normandy is. Normandy is very well known for its apples, its cheese, its dairy, and we can do some amazing kind of combinations. And this is where the cultural part comes in. We'll be visiting some of these really great estates. Plus, we can go do the D-Day beaches and Le Mont Saint-Michel. So we really try and integrate where we can the either champagne or sparkling wine experience, because you could visit Champagne and then go to Normandy, pick up the boat in Honfleur, and then come down to Paris on a cruise. So there's so many combinations,
so many options. But I think that would be a wonderful for the wine lovers. I mean, maybe they're doing one of those wine-centric cruises that happen quite frequently with the river cruise companies, and then they could end with a couple of days private tour with you guys. I think that would be fabulous. And one more thing I want to delve into, I'm always mindful of the clock, but one thing we need to talk about, with the pandemic, are doors open, closed, cracked a bit? How can people plan to travel yet to France in 2021, early 22?
Well, none of us can predict the future. As of right now, everything is totally open to visit in Champagne, in France, where everybody's open. Looking at the anti-COVID act, France is at about 80.9% fully vaccinated people over 12. In the last 5 weeks, the COVID cases have been dropping consistently every single week. The R factor is below 1. So from this side of the ocean, things are improving slower than they should. And also now we're finding that some of the pharmacies are able to take the CDC proofs that people are getting in the US and actually convert them electronically so they can be uploaded into the French app. So that whole process is now starting to move forward. And so I think we're going to just continue to see improvements in the ability for people to travel and make it easier for them. And as long as the cases keep coming down here, we're open. On the US side,
well, we're beginning to see. I'm down here in Florida, where we've been. I mean, this last round has been really, really hard for Florida, but we're beginning to see things just start to inch downwards a bit. I think we're making progress, and and I think right now, definitely it's a different set of concerns if you're vaccinated versus non-vaccinated. If you're, the non-vaccinated people, I think probably the best advice is to just hold off a while if you plan to travel, because the vaccination definitely does ease your way and make it a safer trip for you. So it's not impossible. It's just a lot easier if you're vaccinated.
No, actually, if I can just say, if you're not doubly vaccinated, we won't pick you up.
There you go. Perfect.
Not interested.
Yeah, and that's
we need to, and it's not about the people themselves. It's about who they might affect if they're not vaccinated and they carry the virus. They may affect somebody else. So we kind of take that quite seriously. And I ask everybody, are you fully vaccinated? And in fact, legally in France, you can't go to a restaurant with less than 50 people. You can't go to some of the houses unless you prove that you're doubly vaccinated and you have proof and ID. So it's not really a big deal, but if you don't have it, you can't come in.
Yeah, there are so many carriers and providers that are require vaccination, and that's kind of what different set of rules. If you're not vaccinated, it really isn't the optimum time to take a bucket list trip and travel to Europe. It just is not.
No, you can't. You really can't. You can't go to a restaurant.
Yeah. In most countries, there are a handful of places where it's a little easier, but it's just, for the sake of your own health, it's just not the best thing for not, even if it's possible, it wouldn't be the best thing. Larry, thank you so much for your taking time. It's always fascinating, and you always have new insights and discoveries to share, and you're doing so many more things. So folks, if you are a wine lover and interested in exploring France, the Champagne Tour Company is absolutely an amazing experience. And if you are a wine connoisseur or wannabe, it would be an amazing thing for you to book a tour. And we're happy to help you with that. Please reach out. Just contact us or contact Larry. And thank you again, Larry. We so appreciate your time. And stay tuned, folks, for the next time. I just want to we'll have a giveaway tonight. I'm going to give away a set of packing cubes. So if you have been listening only for our live listeners, I want you to enter just the word champagne in the comments section tonight. This is just for our live listeners, but I'm going to give away a set of packing cubes to our one of our live listeners. There'll be a drawing. So enter that in comments now. And thanks again, everybody. And thank you again, Larry. So good to see you.
Good to see you too, Pat.
Bye now.
Nice to see you. Take good care. Bye-bye.